Namaste friends, I am Ajit and you are watching OpIndia. Today I am going to bring a story of a Russian Hindu who has been practicing Sanatan Dharma for quite a while, and he has been attacked in his community. He is being attacked by a guy called Alexander Dvorkin who has been going after him, his business, his employees, and he is plotting against the downfall of Hinduism in Russia itself. He has been instrumental in telling or trying to convince people of Russia that Bhagavad Gita is some satanic text, or it is extremist in nature, and Krishna is some antichrist or devil itself. So we have tried to talk to Denis, and Denis will be talking to us about his situation of Hindus in Russia, and how he and one ashram of Hindus in Moscow has been trying to get a name and identity for Hinduism in Russia, and trying to get them recognized as a minority in Russia, and what are their struggles. Welcome to this show, and the main purpose of this show is to tell your story and your side of story from a Russian Hindu's perspective, and whatever you are facing personally, and being a Hindu in a Orthodox Christian setup in Russia. So we would like to know from you, just you can introduce yourself and start with why you chose to become a Hindu.
Okay. Well, as for me, I was born in 1984, so I'm 35 years old. And I've graduated from Moscow State University. I'm a mathematician. I have a PhD there. And
Okay.
I also have a master's degree in economics from another institution that is kind of well known in the world. As for my beliefs, well, as you mentioned, Russia is traditionally an Orthodox Christian country, state. And I remember my grandmother taking me to church once in a while in childhood. But whenever I was reading Bible, I couldn't find answers to certain questions. So to me, what is important is that first, in the teaching that you accept, you have to be able to find a certain philosophy, that will give you answers, and then you have to be able to find people that will give you the answers. Your teachers, your gurus. And I wasn't able to find either in the Orthodox Church.
Okay.
The philosophy was not sophisticated enough. It was not elaborated enough. And the people, it's not only my opinion, but I'm sorry. They have, we have a lot of criticism about the church and the people that are in the church here. And to me, it's kind of it's real. I agree with most of the criticism. So first of all, I need to find a proper philosophy. And Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, with all the scriptures, with all the texts, well, it is an ocean of knowledge. Secondly, I needed to find a guru, and I was able to do so. I don't know, the fate helped me. I find a guru. His name is Shri Prakash Ji, and he lives in Moscow and he's been living in Moscow for over 3 decades now, and I consider him my guru and my spiritual guide.
So, continue.
And it was important to that this person, I believe, is very honest, very transparent, very wise. And so in Hinduism, I have a combination of both the philosophy and the person that leads me
Hmm.
through, guides
Yeah.
me through this my life.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay. So, when you chose to become one or started going to this ashram that you are talking about, the guru,
Yeah.
so did you face some backlash from your community or even family itself?
Yeah. My family was not really supportive, but they were
Hmm.
not really against it.
Okay, okay, okay.
Especially, the things like becoming a vegetarian and so on.
Hmm.
But then, when years passed, they accepted it,
Okay.
and even accepted some of some some parts of Hinduism and
Okay.
maybe Ayurveda that helped them, and they
Hmm.
partially became vegetarians themselves. So in my family, as of now, everything is okay.
Yeah, there is a
But
bit of influence of Hinduism in your family right
yeah,
now. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But and at the beginning, when I was a Hindu. In my heart, I was a Hindu already, but I wasn't a public figure or anything,
Hmm.
so very few people knew about this fact.
Hmm.
But when at some point I started supporting Hinduism openly here and the struggle that Hindus face here,
Hmm.
and it was around 2016, then I really felt, the iron grip on my neck of many institutions here, because and especially because I'm a businessman. I have a business here. It's not a big business. It's not a big company, but it's not a small
Hmm.
one. It's like
Hmm.
in kind of in the middle, maybe.
Okay.
Uh, we supply medical devices here and there in the country.
Okay. So, continuing on your line, just talk me through the general situation of Hindus in Russia. How many of them are there, and how do you people congregate and talk to each other or help each other out in situations of crisis? So, if you face any such crisis at all.
Yeah. So there are around 100 and 100,000 and 100,040, I believe,
Hmm.
um, Hindus in Russia, as far as the recent statistics goes,
Okay.
and most of them are born here. So these are Russian people,
Hmm.
basically, and they are not very well accepted in the not in the society, but by the church. So I don't
Okay.
feel like
Hmm.
I don't feel any rejection, because if you take a look at various yoga festivals here that happen here and there and from time to time, there's no negative you know media or anything around it.
Hmm.
But if you take the church, a lot of criticism coming from it,
Hmm.
and coming from them, and the as for what we're facing and the struggles that we're facing,
Hmm.
you know that in 2010, if I'm not mistaken, I can
Hmm.
verify that there was a trial. They tried to ban Bhagavad Gita in Russia.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous.
yeah, they tried to make it branded an extremist text.
Wow.
Yeah, and there was a fierce reaction in your country. I've seen the debates in your parliament.
Hmm.
There was some flags burned in the streets, and after India stood firmly, the trial stopped eventually.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is part one. Part two, what I see is, for some reason, known to them alone, I think, the church, and I insist that it is a church and it's church's doing, started attacking my guru Prakashji in 2015 or 16 or so,
Yeah.
and it's been going on till today, and is still continuing.
Mm-hmm.
And we do receive some support from India, from your embassy here, but it's kind of limited.
Yeah.
They are not, yeah. So for some, they're saying, oftentimes they're saying that their hands are tied.
Okay. So now talk me about your situation and talk me about this Dvorkin guy, if I'm
Yeah.
able to pronounce his name right.
Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Just talk me about him. Talk to me.
So Alexander Dvorkin is an infamous person. He's done a lot of bad stuff for various religious groups in Russia.
Mhm.
And let me tell you one thing: there's for you to be able to understand the situation of Hindus in Russia completely, there's not a single organization like. Now, there are certain religious groups that are allowed to be registered within the Ministry of Justice in Russia, but there is no official organization, not a single one here in Russia. So they
Okay.
don't allow it. They don't pass it. We tried it and ourselves for many years, but they haven't passed it. So this working guy, he's done a lot of damage to many religious groups here, including Hinduism, and it was his doing to try to ban Bhagavad Gita here in Russia.
Okay.
It was the man behind the whole charade. And once he saw an opportunity or whatever, or received an order to attack my guru, he started doing that.
Okay.
And well, as you know, myself being a man of honor, or I don't know, I cannot stand aside, and I have to, defend myself and my guru too. And for some reason, well, they saw. They tried different tactics. They attacked the guru directly. There was police raids here in ashram, in his apartment in Moscow. They dragged him into police station, questioned him, but were not able to, find anything.
Get anything? Yeah. They couldn't get anything. Okay.
Yeah, and they tried, they took some we gave them the texts, they analyzed them, there is nothing but Hinduism there.
Okay.
So then they tried to attack his followers, and I'm one of the followers.
Okay.
And they tried to, scare a few people. They tried to persuade people to say bad things about him. And as for me, when I blankly refused to cooperate with them and said them to fuck off, they tried to dismantle my business, and they used different tactics here as well. There was a police raid there in my office as well. All the papers, all this stuff, all the computers were taken. And they're still there for more than 2 years or so in the police, and they refuse to let it go. And there was a lot of media noise about it because they use a lot of media coverage here. They're able to reach a lot of media outlets here and use them as they will. And there was a lot of noise about it, so there was a couple of rigged TV programs, TV, dedicated to our case, and I gave an interview, but they took certain parts of the interview and took
Okay.
it out of context and placed it whenever they liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reputation suffered as well.
Mm-hmm.
But being a hardworking person, and I'm not afraid of anything, frankly, and especially of them.
Mm-hmm.
That hit we took, and we stand firmly. There was another hit recently
Mm-hmm.
that we experienced. It was from the antitrust body of the country, and they find a way to build a case against us, and we're currently defending ourselves in the court, both in the court and in media, because again, I was not the target. Through me, they trying to target Prakash G. And they, the whole thing, I can send it to leaks, but they're in Russia, in Russian. They were saying that I'm sponsoring an extremist community here in Russia.
Okay.
Well, first of all, I'm not sponsoring any extremist community here. Secondly, who are they to brand any community, any religious community here in Russia, extremists or not? There are other bodies in the country that are supposed to do so, are supposed to judge objectively. I mean, ideally, and so there will be another court hearing. Well, we tried to sue them for damaged reputation and falsehood, basically.
Okay. So, were there any, physical harm done to you, or any attempt to go after you physically, or tell me about any horrible thing, or extreme things that has happened to you.
Yeah, extreme psychological pressure.
Okay.
When they're trying to set your employees against you, when they pull them in the police station, trying to question them and
intimidate
flip them against you. When they do this media coverage, and again the reputation of the business suffers. When they call you, they pull you into the police station. They question you. I remember a picture when I was standing there alone. They put my lawyer in the corner of the room. They told him to stay there, and there was 10 people surrounding me, telling me what could potentially happen with me if I refused to cooperate.
Okay.
So yeah, this thing again. We're under constant pressure and constant threat from religious extremists here in Russia, because as in many countries, you as well, we have people that are just crazy, and they're saying that if you're a Hindu, just go seek another country. You don't belong here, and you can come across within the street. And I'm receiving comments in my Facebook page suggesting me to leave the country. So the whole environment is very sick.
Okay. And to what extent do you think the Dvorkin guy can go against you?
To the to the extreme. Well, of course, I don't think they're gonna hurt me physically, because it is a bit press, and they have to have a certain pretext for that, and I won't give them any pretext for that. But as for imprisoning me, sure.
Okay, and financially harming you by going after your company and
huge
your business
fines,
and even your employees.
Huge. Yeah. Well, as for physical harm, I suppose it can happen from the extremist Christians here. Yeah. So
or
officially
maybe maybe they can, send someone after you. He doesn't have to get
Sure, in the
involved.
street.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was a news just this morning. A guy that said something against a Christian, one of the Orthodox top
Mm-hmm.
guys. He was
Mm-hmm.
beaten up in the street.
Wow.
Just an old guy. I mean, like 60 years old. He was a worker for a news agency, and he said he got tired of all the bullshit that they're feeding to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that he said is something about top guy from the church.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was passing through a park in the evening, and two young men beat him up.
Okay. And last question. My last question is, how are you going to, fight this out, and what are your future plans?
I've told you about the court hearings that
Yeah,
we
it is going to happen on 21st, I think, 21st of January.
the first one
Yeah.
will be on the 21st, and there will be several again.
How many
Uh,
cases you are involved in? How
uh,
many court cases?
there's one against me.
Okay.
There's one against that I've initiated against them. So there's
Okay.
two
Okay.
as
Two.
of this point.
Okay.
When we will they will calculate if a fine or a whatever punishment that they're going to punish me with. There will be a third trial when we will contest this fine or whatever. So
Mhm.
I'm expecting at least 3 trials in parallel. And what we're going to do, we're going to find an expert in linguistics and religious matters, and
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
give them Dworkin's text, Dworkin's works and lectures,
Mhm.
where he calls Krishna the devil, the Antichrist, the Hinduism is barbaric religion, the road to hell, or whatever. I can sound it's not a made up thing.
This is
It is
crazy.
real.
This is
It
crazy.
is real. And but until we have a paper that states by a respected expert that
Mhm.
he is attacking Hinduism openly, we cannot
Okay.
go to court with that without
Okay.
it. So we have
Mhm.
to do this, and it will cost some money, but we're
Mhm.
getting the money. And after that, we will try to sue Dworkin for inciting religious hatred and attacking
Mhm.
Hinduism and whatever. This is another thing. The end point of this whole thing is we're trying to put Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, in the line of accepted religions here in Russia. So
Yeah.
as well as Orthodox Christianity, as well as um, Muslims, as well as Buddhists, Jews, whatever.
Mhm.
Let there be a place for Hindus here as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
We're not asking for anything more. Just a
Okay.
place, just to be able to freely exercise our rights and pray to God in the way we
Okay.
like.
Okay. So thank you for talking to us, and I hope some people get to see your story and hear it out and have a perspective about Hinduism itself, and who knows, they might find you out and help you out. And if
And
you come to India, you have my number, and you can just let me know, and I'll be there for you. There are a
thank
lot of
you.
temples here, a lot of Hindus, 800
Thank
million
you
of
very
them.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, because your support, the support of people like you, is what keeps us alive.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there was a few years back there was a protest against Dworkin in India, where
Yeah. Yeah.
an
Yeah.
effigy of Dworkin was burnt,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it had a very sudden cooling effect on Dworkin here.
Okay.
It did work. It did
Okay.
work.
Mm-hmm.
So any support, any kind of support will be much appreciated. And thank you for doing this interview. I hope it helps you and us here.
Yeah. We'll always, we have been following up the story of this ashram, and when I came to know about you through Prasoon and your Guruji, I thought that we need to, tell this story to the world, and
Yeah.
that's why I tried to reach out to you, and it has been a pleasure talking to you, and we will do everything in our capacity to help you out and help the Hindus of Russia out, and let's see how it plays out.
Thank you.